My friend, we are scrapped. We scrapped. We coming hot and heavy. You already know. You already know. You already know. You already know. It's your boy Fellas Pippin is back in this bitch trying to get active on I trade the Asian. Coming at you live with a weekend analysis. Just looking at the market. Been messing with Bitcoin a little bit over the weekend. Um, had a few trades in profits. None of them got smacked, but I didn't close them out in profits because I was looking to see how we was gonna hit my levels. Yeah, most of them got trailed out though. Yeah. So caught some shorts right up in here, pull back, and yeah. So overall, don't really feel like breaking down Bitcoin because the shit ain't moving, and the level that I identified on the 15 minute, or what we saw was price action. Was doing higher highs and higher lows, came down. Broke structure right here on the 15 minute. We pulled back. This is what I saw. So as price action started to retrace, I started taking short positions. Then we leaked off. Had three positions in heavy profit right here. We started to pull back. And I started to close off positions. We leaked again. Once we did this leak right here, this entry right over here, put stops in profit. Got tapped out right over here, and like I said, we just kind of sitting there. Overall, I thought we was gonna, continue to come back to the downside. Um, Pretty much trading within the range at this point. We created this low back in over September the 19th. We kind of grabbed liquidity below that low, so you can kind of see we created a new low, something like that. But you also created a new high. So overall, for me, it was consolidating. I thought we was going to continue to leak through this low and then come back and retest down here. But as you can see, we got a little bit of leakage, but it didn't leak like I wanted it to. So overall, all positions closed on Bitcoin. Turning off of that channel for the because the week getting ready to start. Don't like the price action during the week too fast. Taking over the AU. Overall, most of the charts, most of the analysis coming from the weekend. For this weekend, we got September 25th. What I've been seeing pretty much price action is extending to the downside on mostly everything XXX versus USD. Except USD JPY, and in that case, that wouldn't be XXX USD, that'd be USD XXX. So, AU overall pushing to the downside. Uh, for the most part, I'm pretty much waiting on some type of support to create, whether it creates where it is right here in the market right now, or if it comes all the way down to 64, 118. Overall, that was the next support from the higher time frames, daily and the weekly, when you zoom out the analysis. But yeah, looking at it from the 4 hour, we do have this level of resistance that pushed us into the lows, breaking support right over here. And then once you start to follow the structure on the 1 hour chart, the lower high right here broke through the lows to the downside. So if we don't see any type of deep retracement back into this 1 hour resistance, even higher above, feeling imbalance looking left, what I'm gonna do is just play the structure from the lower time frames. As we look at it from the 15-minute time frame, we can see the 4 hour level that pushes into the lows, breaking higher time frame structure right over here to the left. And then we continue to make lower lows and lower highs on a 1 hour time frame. So the last important spot for me as far as price action is right here, simply because if you're just reading the structure or reading the price action from the 1 hour time frame, if you come all the way back here, you got a high and creates a low, potentially the next lower high. You don't know that this is the next lower high until it breaks this low. So once you come all the way back down to this price action here, this is the price action that breaks and closes below this low. You don't really, I wouldn't identify this one because you haven't broken the low yet, but right here you did. So you got the high, you got the low, new lower high area because this area of price action pushed and broke below the low that broke the previous low. So lower high, lower low, price action pulls back. And we identify this area because now we're breaking structure, looking to the left from this area within the market. Just a simple basic analysis of how lower lows, lower highs, reading the higher time frame to the lower time frames. So 1 hour resistance that's important to me is right here. But on the 15-minute, we do have more lower highs and lower lows. So if we can't get a deeper retracement back into this 1 hour resistance, which will give AUD USD bullish opening week, looking at the news, I couldn't really tell you what could potentially cause the USD to drop off in strength that we've been seeing over the last couple of weeks. We do have some news dropping off from Fed Chair Powell speaking. I don't know what the hell he's talking about, but with that being at 7:30 in the morning, I won't be anywhere near a computer screen or a chart to be able to look at that and see what's going on and being able to be able to analyze the chart. So um, I'm gonna play it for what it is and say, based off of this 15-minute structure, if we don't start closing back above We're gonna put a price point for all the people for all the people in the back. 65,826. We're looking at that area for price action continue to go to the downside. But if we start to break and close above, then we'll wait to see how price action reacts from this 1 hour resistance. When I say sitting and waiting, that don't mean that I won't take some scalp buys back into this level from above this level. That's a 74 pip range. I know how to get active on higher highs and higher lows just as a retesting trade, retesting trade of previous supply that pushed you into the man, but on lower time frames. But overall, yeah, that's what I'll be looking for. If we break close below a little price point over here, then 65 163, then we'll continue to potentially take scalp shorts into the 64 108, which would be the overall target from the higher time frames that we have identified, that I have identified. So that's how I'm looking at AU. And pretty much for a lot of these, that's pretty much going to be the setup and analysis. Looking at GJ started leaking, breaking through structures, resistance, supports, looking left. Overall, the way I'm looking at GJ, the lower high or the higher low that created the higher high. We came back and we retested that supply several times, one, two, at least three times. Finally, we had enough orders or supply or with not enough whatever demand in the market for price action to continue to go to the downside. Breaking structures looking left. So if I'm expecting price action to continue to go bullish, I have a level or area of imbalance identified down here on the daily time frame, and also demand zone where price action broke out from and got busy to the top side. So right now I wouldn't do nothing on DJ, especially from a higher time frame analysis, because we are pretty extended to the downside. But from a structural standpoint, what we pretty much, or what I pretty much did was identify the supply area from the top side and then just started identifying structure to the downside. Right here, based off of this 4 hour chart, we've got the resistance that started pushing us into the lows, breaking structures looking left. So we identify that area within the market and say, okay, if price action retraces, if it does, when it does. If we close above this 4 hour resistance, we potentially need to be zooming back out to a higher time frame to see if price action has the strength, has the whatever, the mojo, the juice, the power, the sauce to push back to the upside. So overall, like I said, since we're so heavily extended to the downside, we're waiting for price action to find its support area to the downside. Putting these markets from the higher time frame gives me just a little bit of insight on where I think price action potentially could find that support area as it's leaking from the top side. So pretty much that's why I have that there. Looking for the retracement back up in here. Do have a few 15-minute levels, but just this price action overall is pretty overall for me. So I'm gonna just pretty much leave it like this. I would identify the 15-minute levels, but because I don't trade GJ on a daily basis like that, it don't really matter to me whether it breaks to the top side of these 15-minute levels or to the downside. I'll overall be looking for a retracement, and whenever it reaches back up to this 1 hour resistance, then I'll potentially start to keep my eye on it a little bit more heavy. Or if I see it come down and touch this imbalance and react, or come down to this demand zone and react, then I'll keep my eyes on a little bit, be more in tune on what the price action is doing. But for right now, yeah, overall bearish. Pushing to the downside, creating a new lower low. So not the time to pretty much hop in for the shorts. Definitely wait for some type of retracement before trying to sell off GBP, JPY again. Pushing on the GU looks just pretty much the same as AU and GJ. We're gonna bump out to the hourly right here because we are pretty much in the same type price action analysis. Only thing about GU is when you crunch it up and try to look and find levels to the left, there is no price action for me off of trading view for the account that I got. So I'm thinking about upgrading on this. With all the news that's going out with iOS and all the rest of that shit in the news, it made me a little shaky on some of these programs and buying into them. But yeah, I need the data. I can't really line up and see what price action did, but because that's so far back, fuck. Hey, hold on, y'all. But excuse me, y'all. Get some straightening around this mother. But overall price action is pushing bearish because I don't have any structure to look left to try to identify a level looking left. What I pretty much do is the same thing as I said on GJ and AU. Follow from the 15-minute time frame structure. As we look left, we got a 4 hour resistance, that whole push to the downside. The 4 hour resistance has not yet been identified for me anyways, because I don't feel like we have really created a support level that came back and broke any structures looking left to truly identify that 4-hour support, that 1-hour support for me. So overall, this little 15-minute range, waiting to see if price action breaks below, break above, and then I'll make a trade decision based off of that. Breaking below, I'd like to see a close below, retest, and then probably continuation shorts. Break above, I'd like to see how price action pulls back to any of these levels and react from any of these levels. There's 15 minutes resistance. Then you got this 1-hour resistance imbalance, and then the 4-hour resistance above that. So yeah, just watching it from a structural standpoint at this point because I don't know what price action is going to do, my friends. Pushing on the NU, as you can see, pretty much the same. Yeah, pretty much the same analysis all around the block. A little bit of imbalance field, 4-hour resistance that push us into the lows. Price action overall bearish, high, low, lower, high, lower, low. Ultimately, want to see that new lower high continue to take it shorts to the downside. UJ is a little bit different. UJ is a little bit saucier. Overall, we did not break. Well, we did kind of break to the top side and close above, but I kind of seen this as manipulation. When you look to the left, there is no price action when you look to the left. So this is all brand new extreme highs, whatever you want to call it, swing highs. There is nothing to the left for, to grab liquidity and none of that extra shit. So I feel like this was just a fake out to the top side. Let me refresh, kind of identify what I'm seeing. Going out to the 4-hour. What we can see is the daily level of demand that pushed us into a area within the market where we kind of can start to identify supply as we can determine or classify this as an area of supply if and only if and when we start breaking structures to the downside. We got this 1-hour support level right down here. For all the people in the back, we're going to throw a price point on that thing. So we got a 1-hour support around 139,900 level. If we close and break below there, we're looking for continuation shorts as we got identified from here from last week's weekend analysis back into this 4-hour support level. If we close and break below this 4-hour support level, then we got a decision to make. Is price action rolling over bearish, or are we only doing a deeper retracement back into demand that has not been retested, that does have an imbalance right down here next to this area that pushed us into the highs? So overall, on UJ, you definitely want to be patient. If price action closes above this 1-hour resistance right up per, then potentially you could be looking for continuation buys up to the top side. But if it don't, if it don't, then potentially we could be getting ready to roll over to the downside, and we just gonna watch and wait and see what price action gives us based off of the structure. Pushing over to gold. Gold was a little bit tricky, a little bit funkier for me to roll off for me to analyze as far as putting the markets on there, because when you zoom out to the higher time frames, this is the last higher low that pushed and gave you the high, breaking above this high, standing above this higher low that pushed you into the high. So based off the weekly and the daily, my ranges are huge on gold, which is not necessarily a good thing, especially if you don't got the account size to handle the volume and the whatever else that go with this shit that make it move so fast. So based off of my analyzation, the daily demand, daily supply way up here, we can identify this area within the market as a potential supply area because we have started breaking structures looking left, and we have started and continued a bearish trend based off of the daily chart. So based off of that information, if we continue to go bearish, what I'll do is just basically play it off the structure. We got a 4-hour resistance that broke structure to look that broke structure. Yeah, 4-hour resistance that broke structure looking left. I ultimately see this all as one ultimate push, even though on a 1-hour time frame, we do have lower lows and lower highs. So ultimately, high, low, lower high, lower low. Based off of price action, waiting on a retracement for the new lower high to continue to go lower. Yeah, and because we don't have that bottom just yet, we like way down there to reach the ultimate bottom. Yeah, way down here. We just gonna play it based off of how the range is created and how price action plays out. If we break and close above, I couldn't see nothing too much wrong. Looking to see taking a scalp buy back into this 1-hour resistance. But at that point, like I said, you would be risk on. So yeah, overall price action is bearish. Definitely trailing stop. Quick pip and dip strategy in this area right here because we ultimately looking for price action to short off. Then if we close above here, then definitely looking to see how price action gets back to the top side. And at that point, it will be, reanalyzing, looking to see what type of level, what type of zone price action can smash into for a weak entry from up there. Pushing over the S&P. Ooh, that paper trade got smacked. Yeah. So if you watched last weekend analysis, last week, I want to say Wednesday video, we was looking at this trade right here. Looking at the 4 hour, it looked like it kind of rolled over. As it was live, smashing into the zone, I was saying I was not going to get in at that time because of how price action made it to that level. I would have liked to see price action correct just like this all the way into that level, and then take the trade. But since news popped out and it just smacked into it, and no, your boy's gonna sit back and keep watching and wait for price action to continue to roll over to the top side. Looking at it from the 1 hour, 15 minute view, what we can see here is this reaction we see on the 1 hour time frame, like that one big ass engulfing candle. We see the pullback. We see the pullback here. It's over here, so we see the price action. We see the push. We see the pullback. The pullback does not respect structure based off of 15 minute. So ultimately, I wouldn't have been ready, wouldn't have been any kind of FOMO, none of that shit to say, oh, I need to get in for the buys. Ultimately, we bearish. We were looking for price action to fill this imbalance. It filled it. It reacted off of it, but it didn't have enough to continue to go to the top side. Being able to come to the charts and say, okay, I want to take a trade from this position or from this area, but then once you actually sit and allow the price action to play out, if your rules still don't continue to meet, then you potentially save yourself from a loss, which I did in this case right here. Yeah, price action came to a level where I wanted to enter, but I saw it pull away. I did not see it continue to pull away, and this is why, because it was going to continue to go bearish. Why did it continue to go bearish? I would have to look into what it came back to retest over here, which was the previous demand before price action skyrocketed up into the highs. Um, and originally was looking for these buys anyway because of how we broke structure right back in over here. So ultimately, S&P is big bearish at this point, and I would have to go back and reanalyze this whole thing to get me a thought process to see where I think price action is going and how we're gonna get there. Bitcoin, we already talked about that. So for the most part, that's pretty much it for this analysis of the weekend analysis. Um, Football is up and cranking. My fantasy team sucking this week, sucking lemons. Um, but either way, that's all I got for the chart analysis. Pretty much waiting. Um, yeah, I usually get busy on Sundays, but I feel like I'm gonna have to wait tonight and see how price action reacts from Sunday to Monday, and then potentially even Monday to Tuesday, especially if we haven't provided any type of retracements within this big ass bearish trend. I wouldn't want to, continue to trade it. We could take the breakouts, but you more risky with breakouts, especially when you ain't had your retrace because you run into fake out land, pump fake land, back throw land, give my little brother in from last week, wig entry to the downside, push back to the top side, skyrocket shit like that. And I ain't really trying to go through all that, bro. I done put in my time. I done been through them heart attack sessions and I'm good. I'm good. So I'm gonna sit back and wait and watch and analyze to see what the market gonna do. But that's all I got for this one. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your time and energy. Like and subscribe. Tell your cousins and aunties and them come over here and get some of this bread with your boy because I'm out. Peace.